The World Government Summit in Dubai is coming to an end today, after 2 days of high-level discussions bringing together global leaders, policymakers, and innovators from around the world. Our colleague Stephanie Silitonga sat down with one of the key voices at the summit, Anja Manuel, Executive Director of the ASEAN Strategy Group and the ASEAN Security Forum. Here is that interview.
Partly known for your work on China and the evolving balance of power in Asia. So how do you assess the current state of U.S. China relations, and what should middle powers like Indonesia be preparing for in the next decade?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. So U.S.-China relations are calm right now, which is positive for the entire world. I think President Trump and President Xi are very focused on having a positive summit coming up in April or May. There's a lot of concentration on the economic relationship and making sure that things don't go awry. So as you know, last year the Chinese threatened to stop all critical mineral exports to the United States. That obviously doesn't work for the U.S. In response, the U.S. took down some of those extreme tariffs. So I would say on the economic side, the U.S. and China have fought each other to a draw. Underneath all that, and this becomes important for your viewers in Indonesia, I think the security relationship is not super stable. If you see what China is doing in the South China Sea, threatening the Philippines, increasingly sending ships and planes and others across the center line in Taiwan and even around the island of Taiwan, the security relationship is a little bit unstable. And so we're going to be watching that carefully throughout this year.
All right, with the global current situations, India is increasingly viewed as key strategic actor in the Indo-Pacific. How does India's approach to global leadership differ from China's, and where do you see opportunities for countries like Indonesia to engage more deeply with India?
India is becoming really one of the key powers in the world order. All of the reforms that Prime Minister Modi has undertaken since he's come to power are making India more and more an economic powerhouse. And at the same time, from the United States perspective, relations, until a blip recently, a few months ago, relations have become ever closer and ever more comfortable. If you look at, in spite of the argument that Prime Minister Modi and President Trump had a few months ago that kind of brought trade relations into disarray. If you look at the security side, the United States and India are doing more and more together. And India is doing more and more together with Japan, with Australia, and with others in Asia, because I think they are also worried about China's ever-expanding military power in the region.
Southeast Asia often finds itself navigating between major powers. And from your perspective, what practical strategies can ASEAN countries adopt to maintain strategic autonomy while still benefiting from engagement with the U.S., China, and India?
Yeah, ASEAN is such an important and dynamic region. I have loved every time I've gone to Indonesia. I feel like your economy is growing incredibly quickly. You have incredibly dynamic and entrepreneurial people. And so both Indonesia and the other ASEAN, Southeast Asian countries are becoming increasingly important in the global trading system. And I think that gives you a lot of power and importance. And I hope that ASEAN doesn't see things as a zero-sum game between the United States and China. I think it's not. The United States, as you know, didn't enter the Trans-Pacific Partnership. We've pulled out a little bit of closer trade relations in that region. I hope we amend that at some point, because I think those relationships are important and positive. But I would say on the positive side, just in this past year, in the past few months, you've seen the U.S. and Indonesia reach a trade deal around tariffs. That's pretty positive. It's gone along all right. And on the security side, you see some pretty positive collaboration between the two, including the Garuda exercises. And so I hope that those continue.
And my last question to you, Anja. Indonesia recently joined the U.S. initiated Board of Peace for Gaza, arguing that engagement from within allows it to shape outcome. From a broader governance and diplomacy standpoint, what determines whether multilateral initiatives like this can meaningfully contribute to post-conflict stability?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Of course, the Board of Peace is incredibly new. I think it's a good idea, especially as narrowly defined around the Gaza conflict and finally bringing peace to that very blighted and difficult region. I like that it's set up to have a lot of regional powers at the table, to be deeply engaged in what's going on there, and to have them committed to the reconstruction of Gaza and of Palestine and to bringing peace. So I think it's a promising start for this particular small issue. Now, you heard President Trump say at Davos that the Board of Peace should be expanded and it should become almost like a replacement for the United Nations. I'm not sure if that's quite going to happen. It's early days yet. Let's let it be successful at this particular thing, which is finally bringing peace to Gaza, and then we can worry about the next. Thank you.
All right, Anja, Manuel, thank you so much on your insights today.
Thank you very much. You guys were great.
Thank you for sharing with us.